Alright. It is What If Wednesdays, and look at that beautifully aligned screen banner word text thing there. Isn't that beautiful? It's a ZvP PvZ edition. We have JonSnow and Pilipili in here, and we are going to be getting it going right away. Absolutely no delay. Just going to be checking the players are reading. They're reading? My money is on PiG, said JonSnow. Zerg up. Go. So just waiting for JonSnow to pick the correct race. For you guys who are new to What If Wednesdays, what is What If Wednesdays? What If Wednesdays is a show idea which was suggested by a comment on the very first page of the PiG Daily thread on Team Liquid, where someone was like, maybe you could do a show where you get pro players to actually resume from replay and change their mistakes. Wouldn't that be cool? And you could maybe name it something like What If Wednesdays. And me being the creative and original person that I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do that. That's a good idea. I took the idea. I've been doing it for a long time. I haven't done it in the last few months because I've been working on a lot of other different show types. But basically the idea is the loser restarts from replay. They get to talk to us and analyze exactly what they did wrong. They get to tell us, you know what? I'm going to do that completely differently this time around. I'm going to fix that up. And the winner has no idea about that analysis. They're not privy to that little voice call that we have. So they have no idea what's going to be changed. And they have to play the exact same style, only making adjustments and changing as they see changes in the game. So this is a lot like one of these scenarios where it's similar to how pros would practice, where something doesn't work, you get abused by something, you say, I want to make X change. And if your practice partner is being a good practice partner, they do the same thing. They don't completely change their plan because they want to let you test that response. They want to let you play that out and see how it goes. So it should be nice and awesome. It should be a lot of fun. I'll turn some music on here as well, actually. Let's get some of that Brood War music on. StarCraft Brood War music. I can turn that on, actually. Yeah, maybe 30%. There we go. Nice. So Pilipili, of course, spawning up here in the top right-hand side, and both of these players representing Psystorm Gaming. Pili having his big breakthrough performance at IEM Katowice, where he made it through to the group stage, and actually had a lot of very close sets there, even though I think he only won one in that series. I think he beat Nurture, if I remember correctly, using carriers. Unfortunately lost most of his sets, but that was against like the world-class top-level Korean players. It was a really great performance. And down here, we have a player who came on Pro Talk last week and actually talked about his Zerg versus Protoss. So it's going to be really cool to see how he makes it work in this sort of changing practice situation. It is JonSnow. Of course, JonSnow has the pleb spelling of my own name. His name is Jared, but he's got an O. I don't know why you'd ever put an O in the name Jared. Just a tip for you guys out there who are choosing an awesome name for your children. Spell it correctly. You know, I'm not religious at all, but it's spelt the proper way in the Bible. Just saying, that's the oldest book where it's, you know, where it's kind of written in. You should probably spell it that way, Jared. That's how adults spell the name. Let's take a look at what's going on. All right, so it was a gateway expand, very typical build order, guys. Nothing too crazy here from Pili. And he went for a gate scout, knowing that if he scouted after pylon, he wouldn't be able to delay the hatchery in time. Now, before we started, I was really keen to play this map. I was like, you know what, guys? You know what? Let's play Sequencer. Why? Because this map is cool, it's funky, and I feel like it's not grossly favored one way or the other. However, Pili was basically like, yeah, this map's fine. I'm totally cool with it. But just so you know, it is a bit Zerg favored. And Jared, when I asked him about maps, he said, yeah, I don't care. They're all fine as long as it's not Defender's Landing. And I said, yeah, but like, would you play this in a tournament? He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the maps are so new. I don't even know what the hell I should be vetoing this season. What should I veto? And he actually asked me, what should I veto? And I was like, okay, all right, JonSnow. Such a Zerg player, man. They're just like, I don't even think about the maps. All I see is a flat plane for me to spread creep across and build drones on. Rookie mistake. Pili bringing out a bit of the trash talk. The sun was in my eyes, says JonSnow. Oh, man. Of course, teammates getting a little bit in each other's face there. Zergling speed is done. Perfect timing for this Adept to go home. Actually, maybe even stayed a little bit long, but doing very well. It is going to be an Oracle opening, or should I say double Oracle. Might be double Oracle, we'll see. This is still the first Oracle on the way. And interestingly, only adding a second gate so far. No third gateway. Isn't that fascinating? And much love for the sub, Archimond96. Appreciate that, mate. So this is going to be a 2-gate attempt to go for a fast third here. Look at that. That Adept, she's guarding that probe. He's wedged in the mineral line, looking nice and cute there. Spore Crawler's coming down here at about 3 minutes 50. They're going to be well finished by the time that Oracle arrives. This drone is going to have to pop into an extractor, though, if that Oracle does arrive, because all the defense is focused on the natural right now. And 4 queens already out and a 5th queen on the way. Yeah, JonSnow really favors this heavy queen opening as a sort of generic defense against everything. Good pickup by Pili. I love that. 2 lava and a drone. Gets in, gets out, doesn't waste a lot of energy, wastes no hit points or shields. I love just taking the free damage. You know, Pili knows JonSnow's a good player. He knows that he's going to be well prepared for everything. And yes, I did accidentally zoom in a little bit there. Sorry, my bad. Oh, look at this. Great pickup there. Oh, goes a little bit of a miss micro there towards the end of that. Doesn't get that 5th worker. Or 3rd worker, I should say. 2nd worker on that run by. We are up to 2 oracles now. And there we go. Still only 2 gateways down here for Pili and going straight up into a Forge and a Robo and a single Phoenix to deny overlords. This is some sick play by Pili. Just really playing a bare bones expand, saying this is a big map. You're going to be able to expand pretty freely. I can't really harass you as well. My Adept pressures aren't going to do as well. I'm just going to go super greedy off the back of these oracles. And so far, getting up to 5 workers killed, killing a few lava. The oracles are still looking quite healthy. They're just going to have to regenerate some energy and hopefully find more and more of this damage. And denying the attempt at the fast 4th base so far, this is looking really good. JonSnow's going Overlord speed. Interestingly, a very delayed Overlord speed. That's a Baneling drop Overlord speed if I've ever seen one. Because you don't really need to scout at this point in the game that much. He's gonna get some scouting. Sees the Forge. That's a big symbol there for John, where he says, okay, you're macroing up. You're going for upgrades. Like, you're not going to go for a big all-in, probably. I don't see a lot of gateways here. It looks just like an economy-based build. The Oracle's still flying around as well. They're going to see, oh, okay, there's a Baneling nest. Did they see the Hydra Den? No, they did not see the Hydra Den yet. Ooh, going for some Stasis Ward. Deny there. I think that's 4 drones. I believe there's 2 there. Yes, there are. The Oracle's still flying on about, being as annoying as possible. Sorry, my observing game is a little bit off today, guys. Just a little bit sloppy there. In terms of macro, who's ahead, who's behind after this? Since it's been such passive openings, it's hard to say. But interestingly, oh my god, Robotics Bay, he's going to go Colossi, double Robo Colossi. This is actually such a clever way to play here. Just saying, you know what, slow calm game, you're going to go Hydra Bane because you do that every game. I'm just going to make Colossi. I think Pili here really playing very smart. 4 more gateways up on the 3rd. You know, +1 weapons on the way. The oracles are just going to kind of run around tagging everything. And Pili is ahead on probes. Bit of a supply block here, delaying these Colossi for quite a while, so that was a big mistake. But I think at the end of the day, he's okay. Yeah, just going to go up to many, many gateways. 8 gates, double Robo Colossi, Blink on the way. And I think it's very important for JonSnow to scout this. And right now, this Speed Overseer is going to come in. The Phoenix is already on it, though. So really, how much scouting will it get done? I think if you're Pili right now, you want to send Stalkers. You want to warp in Stalkers. You want to use an Overcharge, Sentries. Whatever you've got, you want to use them to stop this from scouting that double Robo. I really think he should be focusing on that a little bit more. JonSnow actually not scouting all the way. He's got that Changeling there. If he runs it to that piece of high ground, he will spot what's going on. But for now, he has no idea. Oh no, JonSnow has no idea what's going on. And this is something I do all the time where I just get lazy about scouting. You get used to Protoss players always playing the same styles. You say Hydra Baneling, which just works versus everything. And you forget about things like double Robo Colossi. And if you're surprised by 4 Colossi, especially on a map like Sequencer with all these choke points, you're like, oh shit, I can't fight that front on. You need to flank it, surround it, or counterattack against it, or transition into things like Vipers and Ultralisks. Just kind of going for a frontal engage or getting cornered kind of back up against it and surprised is going to allow that Colossi army to push into you really hard. And we've got that 4th Nexus on the way. We've got tags going down for Pili just saying, yep, I can see exactly what you're up to. Spire is on the way for JonSnow there. He does like his late game muta transitions. Zergling's going to come in here and just pick away at this base, try and be a little bit annoying. And I still don't think he has any idea about the Colossi just yet. So the 4 Colossi are out now. This Warp Prism still being a bag of dicks. Oh Oh, bag of adepts, bag of dicks, pretty much the same thing, right? I'm pretty sure most Zerg players would call that the same. Probably most Terrans as well. Oracle's just being babysat so well by Pili. Such a good job on that. I'm gonna put this on JonSnow's camera for a little bit though, because I still don't think he has any idea what's going on. He is going to go up to Hive and Broodlords here, and obviously Broodlords are going to be great against Colossi. But at the same time, Colossi will roast those Broodlings very quickly. So it's like, yeah, you know, you're going to suddenly have the range advantage, but the Colossi can still kind of just push their way through those half decently, especially if something like Storm gets added in there as well. JonSnow really just sitting on his side of the map, and he's now building 9 Mutalisks as well to try and get rid of both the Oracles and everything. And this is very indicative of JonSnow, right? He's just like, hey, Hydrabane's really good at StarCraft. You know what? Sorry guys for the lag. Let me close up a few things. There we go. The frame rate should be rescued a little bit. Should be. Sorry. I don't know why it's lagging so bad right now. Let me fix that up. Closing all the programs. Hopefully that helps. And I'll go back to just the regular view as well, so we don't have as many units on the screen. Either way, looks like now the Colossi are revealed. 6 Colossi. Huge Zergling counterattack. Going to move around the left-hand side. I might have to just restart StarCraft quickly after this game. We'll see how we go. Mutas on the right-hand side going to be going in. And oh man, okay, the multi-prong not finding an angle yet. Does pick off a few probes on this base, but that's going to get cleaned up in just a moment. Most of those probes do survive. These Zerglings, oh man, no overcharges going down yet. Pili, what is going on? Finally, the overcharges go down there. Mutas are in the main base, but they're just killing a pylon. And this army is about to get cornered. JonSnow, you need to run. You need to run right now. He kills the Cybercore, and he does run at the correct time. But those Stalkers already going to just pick off a few of those Hydras, do a little bit of damage. The Mutalisks do fall back. I think they could have cleared out most of the probes in that main base. So a little bit of a multitasking fail on the part of JonSnow. He's going to try and turn around a little bit whenever these Stalkers blink after his Hydralisks. But at the end of the day, he's now in that position I was talking about earlier, where he's cornered with Hydra Bane. He's only got 14 Hydras, and he's just making Massling Bane off this crazy drone count. But with 6 Colossi and 3 full energy sentries ready to force field, I think he needs to make like 10 Dropper Lords. Like, that's actually how you beat this army. You need to drop like Banelings from 4 sides while closing in with a huge Concave. And I don't think he's figured out that that's what he needs to do here. With these ramps, this is just not going to work out. JonSnow's going to get overwhelmed for sure. Crazy Baneling count. It all comes down to the force fields, and I think Pili's just going to tear him apart. So it's going to be cool. We're going to probably get to see how does a Zerg respond when they know they're going to be facing Colossi next time around. How do they scout better? Look at all these units getting stuck behind these force fields. An absolute massacre from Pili. He just destroys that entire army. A couple of Banelings finally connect. 1 Colossi takes a bit of damage. Oh, it looks like the Mutas don't even focus it. JonSnow destroys everything. And GG. Did I say JonSnow destroys everything? Sorry, I meant Pili destroys everything. My brain's a little bit special, guys. My brain is a little bit special. Okay, let's get Jared on the call, Mr. JonSnow, and let's see what he says. Yo, yo.
Hey, so I have to end.
That's cool. It doesn't matter. Like, we still have to exit to resume from replay anyway. Just open the replay up again while we talk. So, GG. What went wrong? You didn't see the Colossi all game, right?
No scouting. I was a little bit off that game. Wasn't as clean as I wanted. And even if I don't see the Colossus, you can still get out of that with Hydra Bane sometimes if you engage properly. I just YOLO'd with the Mutas and didn't counterattack or anything.
Is there a set response in terms of if you did know what was happening? Do you get aggressive earlier? Do you change compositions? Do you transition faster? Or do you just position better?
Depends what type of style they're going. Like he didn't go for like a passive, like a all-in 3 base version. So versus the 4 base version, you could go to Broodlords super quickly and like counter and stall. But overall, you just kind of want to get a really nice surround on the Colossus Stalker Sentry with a bunch of Banes, and then hope it engages properly.
I guess on this map, you need to kind of like prepare that ahead, right? Like knocking down rocks and like you need to, like, I guess, always be in that position to counterattack and kind of have squads. And then you're like, oh, you know what? As he's on the map, somewhere in the middle, I can come in from 2 or 3 of these paths, right?
Yep.
Whereas that final engagement, you were kind of coming from 2 angles, and it was like super easy for him to just force field, right?
Force fields there.
So, do you feel like you were behind from the early game at all?
A little bit. I didn't think I did it as crisp. The overload speed was a mistake. I meant to do +1 melee, and I had my hatchery selected, and both of them, the upgrades are X in my hotkeys, so I accidentally started the wrong upgrade.
I was wondering that, because I was saying to the stream, I was like, you know what? This overlord speed is like a Baneling drop overlord speed, which is a little bit surprising because there's that Phoenix out, because he's open Stargate.
Yeah, it was already Stargate, so it didn't really do much.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, that's odd. So that makes a lot more sense. So, you know, we could go right back to then and speed up your upgrades, or we could go to like the sort of, you know, once you're at this later game stage and just look at you saying, you know what? I'm just going to engage a bit better with my army. Where do you want to restart from? What do you want to change up?
We could try this later stage.
Cool.
First, and then if that doesn't go well, we can go earlier.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about doing these sort of restarts is we might restart the game and then just like be like, oh, that didn't work. Let's go earlier. And it's, you know, it might just still be like a 5-minute run through because we're in the later stage already. Awesome. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm thinking not right as you're attacking, but give you guys a bit of time at a chill point in the game when you've got time to kind of get your footing. So I'm thinking 9 minutes is just when your Spire and Infestation Pit are finishing. So you're about to kind of go for Hive and Mutalisks. You're both around 150, 160 supply. You've got your 6th base on the way. I think that'll be a good point.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I'm not in the game right now. Do you have to make it?
Yeah. So I will hop out of that. Hopefully we're still in the party. Replay, and this should be great. Okay, more recover game.
I think the mutas were a bit of a mistake to go like 30 mutas when he's pushing across the map. You don't really get the time to get the value out of them.
Exactly right. You need to kind of do that when you've still got a whole pack of Ling Bane running into his 4th when he tries to counterattack and that sort of thing. So we're gonna go back to 9 minutes, and at the start of the game, there's not really much interaction going on, but I'll just give Pili a few seconds to kind of get his footing. And this should take not too long to load. So good luck, have fun, man. Yeah, good luck playing against the Colossi.
All
right. We are recovering the game right now, guys. That'll take just 1 minute. I'll try and speed up the process of figuring out where we want to restart from in the next one, because otherwise there can be a lot of downtime between the restarts. This is indeed live, Sturmgott. I do want to say a big thanks to the follows and subs. I just turned off my alerts so we don't have beep, 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 beep going the entire time. And this is something which really interests me, because I very rarely get to play against Colossi. So for me, it's like, okay, cool. We get to see a really good player, a lot better than me, JonSnow, play against Colossi on a map with a lot of choke points where Colossi is even stronger than normal, but it's also a very big map. And we get to see, like, how does this play out? Does he just try to go for the big surround on the army when it pushes? How does he pick away at the bases to try and force Pili all in, or just kind of, does he base trade when Pili gets halfway across the map? Is he going to do that muta swap while keeping Pili pinned at home this time? Like, there's so many cool different ways you can deal with any situation in StarCraft. So really exciting to see how that happens. And let's go into game and get this one started. Okay. So it's 9 minutes. Don't lose oracles. This is something I always have to warn with these. Is when we restart, don't lose oracles. That always happens. Probe knows all about that one. Good luck, have fun. All right, we'll go straight into game. Here we go, and we'll resume this. Because you get a little bit disoriented when you resume, so it's very easy to lose a fast-moving scouting unit like the Oracle, which you maybe should have been paying attention to. Big thanks to Buzzer, who's just subbed with Twitch Prime. Much love, much love. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, tag x5_pig and ask them. You can say at x5_pig, this one's for JonSnow, this one's for Pili, or you don't need to specify. Obviously, if you ask a Protoss question, I'll ask Pili. A Zerg question, I'll ask JonSnow. And, you know, I might try to answer it a little bit myself, but this is mostly about getting the pros' opinions, their thoughts. So I will try to get those guys to take center stage as much as possible. So if you guys have any questions about the matchups, even if it's not completely specific to this specific style that we're seeing here, that's fine. I would love to see you know, as much stuff to do with that as possible. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. And that should be awesome. I'm going to be giving out an Alarak code after this. And I forgot to restart StarCraft. I'll do that after this game because, Jesus, the frame rate's a little bit low. Hopefully you guys don't mind. I guess watching it's not as bad as playing. Playing with a low frame rate's a lot worse. And it looks like for now, JonSnow is really just focusing on trying to control his side of the map. He's breaking down these rocks. He's opening this up, and here comes this big Doom push. It's just Stalker Colossi. Remember, Stalker's not the most crazy efficient unit. Ooh, but they do support this army very well. Both players are at an insane worker count of 77. It's kind of funny they're both at that count. JonSnow here is just making a crazy number of Banelings, but I think he needs to give up this base. I don't think he's going to be ready in time if Pili pushes in there nice and hard and fast. And remember, there's no counterattacks on the other side of the map either. There's only 2 Mutalisks out, which are just kind of stopping Warp Prisms from moving in and being annoying. A couple of force fields do already go down here for Pili. He's still got 2 full energy sentries, so he has a total of 9 force fields in there if he doesn't use a Guardian Shield. If he uses a Guardian Shield, he might have as few as 7. And it looks like, here we go, JonSnow is getting ready for this full surround. Hasn't taken down those rocks on the right, though. He's going to get force fielded off down here. Great force fields on the back, but none on the front. And the Banelings, oh my god, some great Baneling hits there. And these Colossi are actually getting focused down. Remember that these Zerg units are way more expendable than the Protoss ones. If he can clear most of this army, he is looking good, but there's still quite a few Colossi standing. He's got to finish off these Colossi, guys. Oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. The frame rate just recovered. Thank God my PC isn't going to completely poop itself. But I think Pili has to turn around and run away, right? Where's the Warp Prism? There is a Warp Prism here. No, he's just going to warp in Stalkers on the front. Oh God, you got to get out of there right now. Carriers are on the way, but Pili is staying here. Pili, Balls of Fire. What do we got? Just Hydra, Ling, Bane on the way, and there's already a carrier transition going. Pili is actually just on fire. That fight was so efficient. 12,000 Zerg resources lost to 7,500 for Protoss. Pili's economy just a little bit too untouched right now. He's got cannons on the 4th. He's got this great SimCity on the 3rd. And yeah, I'm not sure JonSnow was efficient enough there. It looked like that fight was almost about to be good enough. But I think on this map, honestly, I think we're going to discover that you need to counterattack a bit more. Because I think that fight was okay if Pili is down on economy. But since Pili is up at 77 probes, he's getting a 5th. He's not really down on economy. Like, what? He's mining a couple hundred minerals less a minute. That's about it. But he's even mining more gas than JonSnow. So it's one of these games where it's like, well, Pili can actually just afford to take these these positive trades and be fine. Whereas if JonSnow had been kind of counterattacking, multi-pronging, diving mutas and banelings into mineral lines, if he gets Pili down to 50, 60, even 65 probes, I think those sort of trades work out a hell of a lot better. So I think JonSnow is going to have to say, I need to play a more counterattack focused style because of the choke points on this map. And only later on, once I've done some damage, is it okay to just say, oh, all right, as long as I stop this push, I'm in a decent position. A slow zealot counterattack actually sneaks down the right-hand side, and that's a big mistake. JonSnow, I'm not sure if he had the watchtower vision right when that happened, but oh, Banelings! Banelings coming in, they've got +2, they will one-shot probes, does manage to get a couple, not massive, loses his hatchery down there, his 6th base, which is a pain, guys, remember, because he's got 2 half bases right now. That's a half base, and that's a half base. So you can see JonSnow's gas is actually a little bit in pain right now. He's just made 8 Broodlords, which will be fantastic. Remember, there's no Tempests out yet. Carriers, of course, will be able to deal with them, and there's actually only 13 Hydras, so, oh man, that's... 13 Hydras will not beat 6 carriers. JonSnow, I think this push is going to be a little bit doomed. I think he's going to push across the map, and it's just not going to quite do what he wants. He does have a single Viper, which is very cute, great for Abduct. Might grab some units. Best case scenario for JonSnow, the Stalkers and Colossi move too far forward, and they actually just kind of trade into the Broodlord Ling Bane. And that kind of frees up the supply of JonSnow to get more anti-air out. Now, he's going to go for a big counterattack over here. I kind of wish he waited for the Banelings, because the Banelings are what, and Hydras are what will crash through the wall. And on the left-hand side, you know, he's denied as well as the right. Those carriers and cannons just saying, nuh-uh, you can't really get through here. And there's Corruptors on the way. A single Infestor, Pathogen Glands is on the way. And Pili coming forward, just going to take a base snipe and back on out of there. Great moves from Pili. Really controlling this map. And the thing is, the choke points and the size of it, you know, Pili was saying, oh, this is a bit favored for Protoss. And I was a little bit surprised at first when he said that, because I feel like it's kind of favored both ways a little bit, just because of the size of it. So even though, like, definitely your bases get very spread out, it's very hard to defend from multi-prong. At the same time, because it's very hard for Zerg to take a frontal fight and whatnot, I guess I kind of felt like it was okay for Protoss. That being said, I'd love to see JonSnow play a lot more aggressively the next game, more multi-prong, more hitting of the mineral lines, and see if he can make life a lot harder for Pili. Creep spread's decent this game. It's not, like, amazing, since, you know, the game's been going for a good 15 minutes at this point, but it's decent. We've got Burrow and Neural Parasite on the way. This is what I call the, fuck, I'm desperate as all hell, I better try and Neural Parasite units and hope it magically works maneuver. I don't think many Protoss players will, at Pili's level, will let this work. Definitely there's always an opportunity to land the right fungals, land the right neurals, but it's very difficult to actually land correctly. Now, he still does have that one Viper, so of course fungal parasitic bomb can do work on Void Rays. Corruptors can do work on carriers, so I shouldn't count him out yet, but definitely as time goes on, once Pili gets Storm in there, and if Pili can find ways to trade out all of the cheap units like Stalkers and Zealots, which he's already done, and just get like Storm, Archon, Carrier, Void Ray, Mothership, that's where things get very, very scary. So the Mothership is coming across the map now. That's going to be cloaking everything. JonSnow massing Spore Crawlers. So he's been learning from his EU brethren how to deal with this. A lot of people have been talking recently about how Zergs have figured out how to beat Protoss in late game and how you can do it. You just need lots of Spore Crawlers. You need to be very patient. I haven't really seen too many games of it. I've just heard people talking about it. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. And there is Adrenal Glands and +3 melee, +1 range. No Carapace upgrades though, so Zergling's Hydra is still going to get torn to shreds by things like +3 Colossi. Corruptor comes, gets a Revelation, but does go down. And I guess this is the part of the game where we start thinking about bases, right? This game's going to go mega late. Mega late. So what if Wednesdays is going to turn into one giant long game, which will take the entire duration of the show. We'll see how that goes. I think this is one of those ones where we're probably going to watch the replay at the end, and I'll just go, let's just watch the replay together and have a discussion about it, guys, and have both of them talk about it, because sometimes it's not actually as useful to say, oh, where could you have changed that up? Maybe we could replay a late game fight a few times in a row, just recover game, play late game fight, recover game, play late game fight. But it'll take so long to recover as these games go longer that I don't think it'll be as interesting to watch. And here we go. Pili said, you know what? Colossi aren't really important anymore. Suicide run. They're just going to run across here. There's always this moment when you see this where you're kind of like, can I maybe let them survive just so that supply is wasted on this unit, which can't shoot up? The Colossi are going to take out 1 Spore Crawler, 2 Spore Crawlers, and then they will go down to these Corruptors. Now, there's still a lot of Banelings, but Banelings don't use up a lot of supply. Hydras do use up a fair little bit. And more drones being built. JonSnow saying, I need more spores, I need more bank, let's move my spores forward. And securing this base is going to be really important. Now, if he could also secure that base, that's where you start mining out your opponent's side of the map. And these middle bases are very important because these are full bases, guys. 4,000 gas on each of these bases, as well as full 8 patches of minerals. Looking very, very sexy. He still hasn't taken this middle base either. That's kind of important. Pili, of course, the Protoss player, really just wants to defend a little bit more. Play it a bit slower, work on his composition, and try to get to that perfect point. +2 air weapons is on the way. Sorry, +3 air weapons, +2 armor, and +3 shields. He's going for the ultimate upgrades. This is a problem for JonSnow, who's been, I think, playing, you know, not quite as prepared for this turtle late game. He's got +1 flyer attacks on the way. Single spire very slowly upgrading, as opposed to the double cybercore getting chrono boosted the whole time. Yeah, this is a little bit tough. Ooh! Some fungal Hydra going to clean up a big DT warp in there. A little bit of a waste of gas. More DTs warping in there. They're going to run down to that base. There's only a single spine, so that could actually be really annoying because that's so far away. I remember I was talking to Pili after he lost to Snoot in a tournament game which I was casting. I can't remember what the game was, but I'm pretty sure it was Snoot, and Yeah, he ended up losing these trades eventually because he just got picked away at because he never added Tempests, and the Broodlord, Spore Crawler, Viper, Infestor just sieged him. And we talked a little bit after that about how, you know, having some DT or Charge Lot Warp-ins can really take advantage of Zergs at this stage, because Zerg's entire supply is in immobile units that don't really fight the ground. Look at this. We've got 8 Broodlords. They can't really respond to stuff like that. There's 6 Hydralisks and 6 Queens. That's it. And if they're on the other side of the map, it's like, oh shit, you just lose a base. So what you do by doing these counterattacks is you double check that your opponent's being solid, and actually building enough spores and spines. And I think he actually should have just focused down the spine with 4 DTs, and then, you know, killed the spores as well. You know, look at this base down here. What's defending that? There's nothing there. So if he actually kept doing moves like that, I think he could definitely do a lot of damage. This base on the left, nothing there. So if he saves 10 supply to keep warping in groups of 5 DTs, he can do big damage. Nonetheless, though, Pili is just focused on the frontal engage right now, and my frame rate is going to go to shit. So I do apologize for that, guys. Corruptor's trying to get a big surround right now. They're flanking around from behind, actually. They're all together. You really need to flank in from multiple sides. We've got 6 High Templar under there, a total of about 26 storms between them, so I am exaggerating, that's 12 storms. But yeah, that's still bloody scary. Corruptors are going to come in, they're going to look for snipes, but I don't think that's going to work. Oh god, there's just not enough stuff that shoots up. It's all about Neural Parasite. That is the only way that JonSnow wins this fight, is if he can land Neural on everything. Nice Fungal, but oh, he gets a couple Neurals down. Okay, a couple Neurals do land. And oh my god, he's actually neuraled a lot of the army, but some of the infestors are starting to fall a little bit. Oh my god, he's neuraled most of the units. The Corruptor's coming in as well. I don't think they're focus firing quite as well as they could, though. JonSnow, he re-neurals a few units, but yeah, as the neural breaks, unfortunately, most of his units did die there, his infestors. So he has cleared up a lot of this air army. Is it going to be enough? Looks like it was. JonSnow actually takes an incredible fight there. And remember, guys, he was way down in the units lost. Now he's only down 4,000 resources lost. That Neural Parasite attack actually worked out very well for him. Funnily enough, though, JonSnow is actually the one who doesn't have the bank. He's got a way bigger army right now, but he has less workers. So losing these bases is actually really bad. And if Pili starts doing that 1-2 punch I was talking about, especially since he's got free supply and spare minerals, move with your army down the left-hand side, try to just clear the watchtower out, but don't actually expose yourself to a big fight, and send 10 zealots down the right. Yeah, there's a few Zerglings out right now. What do we got? 35 Zerglings. But the thing is, Pili can actually afford to trade a little bit more than JonSnow, and JonSnow still has empty bases with no defense. This is what we're talking about. Unfortunately for him, the Broodlords are there, so he should try to back off, but wasn't quite microing those. He's just going to click on the hatchery, see if he can get some damage done. Zergling's going to start breaking down this base on the right, and that base is going to be a little bit exposed, so for now, this is going okay for JonSnow, but the air army will come back, kill those Zerglings just as the rocks go down, and not really going to find much damage, but does open up a future path. Oh my god, Adrenal Gland Zerglings do so much damage, and the Broodlords actually realize the air army's out of position. He says, you know what, screw you, I'm gonna push the left-hand side, man. The Broodlord's going to start to break through those cannons. I don't think he'll be able to kill the base unless he just goes piss. Piss, 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 piss. P time, P time, P time, P time, P time. P time. No, he's just looking for air units to pick off, and he gets the Oracle. Oh, that's huge. That's so huge, guys. Takes a Void Ray, goes for another Void Ray, and then has to pull back. Does land some Fungals on the Interceptors. Is he going to go for? He's going to go for another big fight here, but Void Ray Overcharge is still active. And I don't think he actually shift-clicked well enough there, even though he landed some great Fungals. So his Corruptors are all going to pull back to the left-hand side, trying to evade the Storms. But the Queens and Hydras are in, and now the Corruptors come back in. JonSnow trying to take the engage, but his Corruptor count is a little bit whittled down. There's very few Interceptors left right now. I think JonSnow could actually focus down all those units, but he's only got a single Overseer. He didn't have detection, I don't think. Oh, man, that's really tough. That's so shitty, man. And now the carriers have had time to rebuild most of their intercept, or about half their interceptors. Every second that goes by, more and more of them are going to come out. Back up to 44 interceptors. You can see in the units tab in the top left, that count continuing to grow. And oh my god. Oh my lord. Fungal does land on some of those air units. Going to catch them on the retreat. But I don't think there's enough anti-air. The Corruptor focus fire has been a little bit lackluster as well from JonSnow. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the hardest things to do. I mess it up all the time in this situation. But it really does screw you if your Corruptors aren't focus firing on the carriers. Notice he keeps stopping to shoot interceptors. And those corruptors are just, their talents are wasted on interceptors. They have a massive bonus, a massive bonus to massive. They have a big bonus to massive units. It's like pretty much plus 50% damage. From 15 damage with +1 to 22 damage, and that's huge. He also has the problem of the fact that he's only got 1-2 upgrades. And remember, guys, look at the air upgrades of Pili, 3-3-3. The air upgrades of Pili just being very nice. So in this late game stage, I think JonSnow needs better upgrades. I think he needed a few more overseers mixed in his army, and you need to make sure you've dropped changelings before so they don't all get feedbacked. Because I do think there was a moment where he could potentially focus down those units. We'll have to see. This is probably going to be the replay we watch at the end together while we're just kind of answering questions from chat and talking about stuff. And it's a complicated situation. I definitely still always feel like Protoss has the advantage at this later stage. But how big is it, really? Very hard to say. And I think there's so many details in StarCraft. There's always shit you can do so much better in order to improve your situation in the game. And right now it's like Queen, Hydra, and Festa. A little bit of a desperate force here. And yeah, he's just going to try and fight with this. Just a low economy Zerg here, JonSnow. While the Protoss is maxed out with this ridiculous Skytoss army. 11 Void Rays, 8 carriers. The 12 Stalkers are kind of a bit of a pain right now because they just don't do that much. But they do provide a little bit of buffer for the 5 High Templar underneath, which are going to cover everything in storms. Single Viper in there. Of course, a bit better Parasitic Bomb coupled with the Fungals would have actually been amazing this game. Normally you want to be able to land 2, maybe 3 Parasitic Bombs. Any more than that and you're probably wasting too much supply on Vipers, because if you can't land the spells, and you can't do that every fight, sometimes the spells just aren't that efficient based on the positioning or the feedbacks being too good, the Vipers end up being dead weight, wasted supply. JonSnow will still have one last engagement, but I like that Pili's playing very patient, and really what Pili needs more than anything right now is an Oracle. He needs the vision. He needs to see where the army is to make sure he doesn't get killed by Neural again, to make sure he doesn't get surprised. There's only 3 Infestors and a Viper. Those are the only energy units. There's only 12 Corruptors with 1-2 upgrades. Remember, guys, the Hydras and Queens only have 1-0. They're going to do terribly. Does get an Abduct on the Mothership. Very nice pick off there for JonSnow. But yeah, that's going to go really bad. Really, really bad. Build Interceptor costs 10 minerals. I see you guys asking in chat, so it's 10 minerals per Interceptor. And of course, each carrier does get 8 of those. But yeah, JonSnow is so dead. When you think about the upgrades, he's got +2, +0. Look how quickly the Hydras die. Oh man. Oh, the storms, the storms, the storms. Oh my god. Yeah, absolute massacre. He's going to try to fight Interceptors here, but they're so cheap. They're so cheap. Pili doesn't really care about losing a few Interceptors. The units lost tab has swung way back in Pili's favor. He is 14,000 resources more efficient. The Stalkers come forward to add insult to injury. They snipe down that Viper. Going to try and snipe down a Spore Crawler as well. They will get the Queen and then just back on out of there. Pili's like, nah, screw this. I really don't want Stalkers right now. I'd much rather build 3 more carriers, and that's exactly what he's going to do. 8 carriers, 13 Void Rays, 5 High Templar. We've got more Broodlords on the way. And this is something that Pili has died to before, is Broodlords picking away at him. But I don't think that's going to happen this time. There's just not enough damage. So, just to re-clarify for you guys watching, you can ask any questions in chat about ZvP openings in general, this complicated late game scenario. I'd say probably the #1 Twitch chat question I get, or random Twitter question, is how do I beat Skytoss as Zerg? So, well, we're going to talk about that a hell of a lot, so feel free to ask questions as simple or as complicated to do with that as you like. Oh my god. I apologize for my computer having trouble today, guys. I will very quickly restart my StarCraft after this game, because, yeah. I personally am going to try and get JonSnow to focus on the earlier stages of the game, guys, because I'm more interested in how Sequencer plays out competitively, and I don't think many Zerg players would say, you know what, my game plan against Protoss is to let them take 5 bases with 80 probes. I really want JonSnow to be more aggressive. Of course, it comes down to what his decision-making says, but before he even says anything, I'm going to say, oh, that was, that was a long game, and I'm going to try and prompt him in the direction of, do you think counter-attacking everywhere would be a good idea? Because I feel like when they're spread out this much and they're going for this army, you can't just defend that frontal fight in the bottom right. I feel like he lost a little bit too much ground there. And even though he did get that one great neural parasite fight, I think that's such an unreliable fight. Like, I don't think you can get that every game, especially once Pili's like aware of that being a threat, which he will be after this game. I don't think he's ever going to let that happen again today. High Templar just blanketing storms over everything. GG's. Holy shit. Alright guys, I'm very quickly going to restart my StarCraft. Hopefully that helps clean that up a little bit. I've already closed a lot of the other apps that are running. So hopefully that will clean up the lag just a little bit. In the meantime, I'll get JonSnow on the call and we can chat. We can see what he thinks he can do maybe a little bit better. Hey, hey!
Hey, what's up?
GG's, man. I didn't think we'd see a game like that, though, to be honest. Yeah. Sequencer, I guess I probably should have known there was a chance of this happening. Pilipili and Sequencer together.
True.
So I think, obviously, there's like so much stuff we can talk about at the end of today. I think we'll probably rewatch that replay and like look at the late game fights with Pili on the call at the end of the show while we answer questions, because I'm sure a lot of people will want to talk about that. But casting our mind back to the earlier stages, I'm going to give you my little analysis really quickly before I ask you your thoughts, obviously, since I got to see everything. So very quickly, I just wanted to say I thought you played really nicely with the surround on his army, but because he was up at the same economy as you, like 4 bases fully, 77 probes, and just because of those choke points with the force fields on them, it felt to me like it was like just a little bit too efficient with how he managed to keep some Colossi alive, force you to fully remax. He was like 5,000 resources more efficient in that fight, something like that. And then kind of go to late game on 80 probes at his own pace. Do you think, you could maybe play out that late mid game in a stronger way with more counterattacks rather than just defending his frontal push, kind of pull him home with counterattacks or Baneling drops and that sort of stuff? Or do you think you should just focus on the late game and taking the neural parasite mass air army fights better?
I think, I think the early game didn't go properly. Especially letting him have that fourth so easily shouldn't really happen. I don't know. I haven't really played much on this map, especially against passive boss. I don't know if you can deny that back fourth that he took, but I feel like he definitely took it really early this game and powered up a lot. So I think if you have like a crisper opening and better upgrading timings and everything, you can hit like a really hard +2 timing, which maybe pushed him back. But I don't know, since he had Colossus, I feel like I should be able to do more damage in the mid game, especially with him taking a fourth all the way on the side of the map, and then his other 2 bases on the other side should be able to do more damage at that stage.
Okay, yeah. That's interesting, right? Because it's weird when you're first playing a map like this, right? Figuring out how you want to hit that fourth, because it's really far from his third, but it's also very isolated, right? So it's kind of weird because you're very new to this map, right?
Yeah. I feel like you'd have to do a split push, at his natural, and then also try to cancel the fourth.
Do you think maybe breaking down the rocks below his natural rather than even hitting the natural wall? Maybe just breaking your way through that way?
That'd be really smart. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a lot of, especially when you're going Colossus, you kind of have to power up, and they're not super mobile. It's just he's kind of building up for that one death push where he has 6-8 Colossus, and you kind of have to deal with that somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very unique map setup. And he's even doing like a kind of a unique style on it, which I think is pretty good.
So this is really cool because I think this is the most interesting thing and especially the best for this format of show. So I actually would like to go back to quite early because we've talked a lot about having a crisper opening, better upgrades. And you know what? There was that accidental OV speed. So I'd like to go back to just before that happened and change that and kind of, you can play the same style, but just try to get more aggressive. Do you think that's a good time to restart from?
Yeah. I think that's a good time.
Okay. So you started that at I think I'll probably go back to 4:30 because you started that at about 4:50, something like that. Let me just check there's no interaction going on at that point. Okay, yep, 4:30 looks safe. Yes. Okay. I've always got to double check that because last week when I restarted the show, yeah. Okay, let me get you guys back in party. I had to restart. Can you leave party?
I can add you.
Or just invite me in either way.
Yeah, I need this Billy. No. Oh, Billy's the captain.
He's the captain? Alright. Make me leader, please. Too many interceptors, guys. You're lagging my computer like a friggin' like a crazy person. Oh, you're the leader. Can you make me the leader?
Why am I the leader?
Crazy Pilly. All right, we'll go back to 4:30 and see how this can work out. So this is really cool, right? Because figuring out the new maps and how to make your attacks work, it's something where often we have this situation where it's like early on we're like, this map's broken for this race, and then like 2 months later when everyone's used to it, we're like, actually it's just impossible to stop a split Hydrabane push. Like Protoss can't cover the fourth, like they have to take a delayed fourth or something like that, right?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of strategies that are going to come out of this map.
Choke
we don't know yet.
And probably the longest rush distance, I'd say, as well, right? So
circumvent that though.
Yeah. So just to summarize, you're going to go melee instead of Overlord speed, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And otherwise, it's the same game. You're just, trying to be crisp. For any of the newer viewers watching, when we talk about just having a crisper, better opening, we're talking about pulling your drones away from an Oracle slightly faster, losing one or two less drones, not getting supply blocked for that 5 seconds. Really minute changes. And, oh, that recovered really fast. Awesome. Good luck, man.
All right, thank you.
Kick some ass. All right. Would take too long to cover. Want to investigate early mid-game. Sequence some more. Go. So I didn't want to keep you guys waiting for too long. I knew that would already take so long with me restarting. 3, 2, 1.